My name is Raj Kovali. I'm talking to you from AKN TV India YouTube platform, Aapki News section. Today I want to talk to you about water. About 2 billion people in the world do not have safe drinking water. Rest of the 6 billion do have some water to drink. How about the situation in Delhi, which is the capital of India? Before 2015, the water situation in Delhi was pathetic. One third of Delhi's population were served through tankers. The tanker business, or so called tanker mafia, was a 400 crore business. This not only affects the dignity of the person, that is the one third of the population, but also the time taken, and it is a huge problem. And the equity in distribution of water in Delhi was also skewed. The better off communities like defense colonies, South Delhi, etc., were given a water 250 liters per person per day, whereas the faraway places, certain villages and Jhukki Jhopdi Bastis, unauthorized colonies, were getting only 3 liters per head per day. That was the equity distribution in water. So when Aam Aadmi Party government took over in 2015, they started making plans on how to solve this problem. The first thing they realized was we need to change this equity distribution of water. So several steps were taken. And the other part was how to make Delhi self-reliant in water without depending on the water from Yamuna and the underground water. So in the last 10 years, AAP government has laid 5,200 kilometers of pipelines, mostly in unauthorized colonies. What are these unauthorized colonies? A large portion of Delhi population lives in these colonies. They came from other states and also work for the development of the state, but they lived in these colonies, and the previous successive governments have totally ignored these. They never gave any electricity or water facilities to these unauthorized colonies. So the first thing that was done was to lay the pipelines for making a grand plan to give water from the taps to the unauthorized colonies. And how about the sustainability? How do we get the water, self-sufficiency of the water be solved? For that, steps were taken, like for example, Yamuna will have floods almost every year during the monsoon. So the flood water is taken into certain reservoirs, that is man-made reservoirs, on the banks of Yamuna, so that the water is stored there and goes to the underground, and the underground water level has gone up. That is one. Another thing that was done was various water treatment plants were set up. One of them happens to be the biggest in Asia. So the sewage water goes into these and it gets cleaned up, and it goes into the earth so that it will improve the underground water levels. This was another thing that was done. And almost 75% of the network of these water pipelines in entire Delhi, that is the one third of the population, was completed. And these STPs, the sewage treatment plants, were also operational and almost ready. There again, about 80% of the work is done. So another few years' time, everyone in Delhi can get piped water, and also Delhi becomes self-sufficient, and the equity of distribution of water will also be far better. Thank you very much for watching. I'll come to you again with some more details.